Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Sit Down and Shut Up, special Saturday night edition. Hope you all doing well. Today we got Cheap Cheap Sweep. Let's bring him on. Hey, Cheap Cheap, can you hear me?
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah. Awesome. So how's it going, man? How you doing?
Uh, Good. I'm on the East Coast, so
Okay. Well, we'll get
not
through the pleasantries pretty quick then.
tired.
So,
No, no,
gotcha.
no.
Oh,
I'll take your time. I need it. But thanks for running these.
yeah, of course. So tell me a little bit about what's been going on. When you queued up, you said you're looking for some help with defense and meter use.
Um, yeah, I start to put things together, and now I can't play as much as an adult, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I make it to the weekend, and I kind of regress and try to like learn things again.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I forget is like defensive options in the game. And also uh, a meter use, as in just not cashing out when I should be
Okay.
for the kill.
Okay. Gotcha. So it's like sometimes you feel like maybe you're in the corner or something and you're not able to get out of it effectively and you kind of go for reversal at some point, it gets blocked, right? Or it's like you land a hit trying to cash out, or maybe you don't cash out and it doesn't quite work out for you, right? Like you try to go for it, it doesn't. You don't, maybe you don't spend the meter, like leave some damage on the table, and then you don't get the kill, right? Does that sound about right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Sometimes like not cashing out when I should be, or sometimes trying to cash out and then um, not um, not knowing exactly how much meter I had.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, cool. So we can take a look at that. So I don't know if you've seen what this format looks like, but basically what we're gonna do is we'll run a first to three. So by each customer, we run a first three. I'll kind of get a sense of like what you might be struggling with, what you might be running into, and like if the things you're talking about are coming up for you. After that, we'll take a look at some replay review. So we'll take a look at one of the matches that we play. So one of the matches that we ran today, and then I'll take a look at one of the matches that you sent me. Right. The reason I do that is because the things that might be happening when we play might be different than what you're running into in your average kind of ranked experience, right? Or like tournament
Right.
experience or whatever, right? Like the way the games go can be a little different. So taking a look at how those go can help when it comes to like how do I deal with players that are maybe higher level than me? How do I deal with players that are kind of at my level, right? That type of thing can
Mhm.
help. If there's anything in particular we want to look at, so like a situation we want to deep dive in, we could do a little lab work, hop in the training room, take a look at one or two things if that makes sense to do. And then afterwards, if there's time, I
Sure.
know you're East Coast, so if it's too late, don't worry about it. But if there is time and you're up for it, we can run it back, run the first three, see if anything that I kind of pointed out it will help or not. So sound reasonable?
Yeah, yeah, that sounds great.
So let me create a custom room here, and I'll invite you to it.
All right, let's start the game.
Oop, all right.
Not sure if it's worth mentioning that I'm a lifelong joy
You what?
I'm a lifelong joystick
Oh,
player, but I've been converting to leverless,
okay.
and it's been a process, and maybe that's taking up some of my concentration.
Yeah. It's 100% a mental stack thing because you're learning a new interface basically, right? So all of
Yeah,
your existing left hand muscle memory doesn't quite work anymore, right? And like for me personally, and it's always funny I share with people is that it took me like I want to say it took me like 2 weeks before I started SOCD cleaning blocking. So I would hold left and right so that it's a neutral input, and then I would get hit, right? I'm like, what's going on here? And a lot of times because I was holding left and right, and obviously that SOCD is to neutral, so I was just standing there not doing anything. Okay, cool. So are you on leverless right now, or are you still?
yeah,
Okay, cool. All
I'm
right,
a
so
leverless.
right on. So go ahead and queue up any slot, any player one, player two, whatever you feel like. So I do tend to, I'm going to deafen in Discord during this section, mostly because I don't want to impact anything you're doing. So just to let you know, I am streaming this, and you'll have the VOD for later on if you care to review it. So I'll be talking through what I'm seeing, what I'm thinking, and all of that stuff, and I don't want to impact anything you're doing, so I'll be definite in Discord. Additionally,
Okay.
I'll also may not rematch right away, so the timer may run down to like 1 or 2 seconds, and it's for the same reason, right? I'll be articulating thoughts and what I'm seeing, right? So if you do decide to look at this later on, you'll kind of see what I was thinking during the sets, and maybe that'll be helpful for you to review. So if that all sounds reasonable, go ahead and queue up and we'll get this
Yeah,
going.
that sounds like a great idea.
Awesome.
Queuing up.
Good luck. All right, cheepcheepsweep. I haven't played them yet in the Discord. I know I've seen them around. I haven't had a chance to play them yet, so we'll see what's going on. A lot of times when I hear people talk about meter management and defensive situations, what that really means is that I think like they're getting mixed in the corner a lot, right? And Sagat has some good defensive options, right? ED, ODDP, right? You can do whatever. The supers work pretty well for that. Ouch. Oh, that was a super late DP. Am I dead? Pretty close. Okay. Alright, so anti-air seems good, right? They're able to DP me there. They're able to maintain and control neutral space pretty well, so... It's got live so long. That's pretty good, though. Good conversion. Oh! Oh! Couldn't cancel the first time? Okay. So that time I think was unfortunate. I think they blocked, but then just ended up getting hit, so... that's just sort of that corner defense thing. I think what happens... again, when I hear players talk about like defending the corner, they feel like they shouldn't have to guess, if that makes sense, right? They feel like they should be able to cover kind of multiple options, right? Like being able to cover, oh, I should be able to cover everything that Ken can do here. And in reality, like the reality of it is that you can't, right? You can't cover every option. There's no single option you can do that will cover everything, right? Everything has a counter, so. Uh-oh. Oh, I didn't super? Okay. I don't I must have been looking at the wrong meter when I don't know why I didn't super. Anyway, so there I think, again, like, where I think they might have gotten hit a few more times than they probably should have was in the neutral, right? So, pretty good jump in. Uppercut. Safe jump. I don't think that's safe, right? If I block that standing. Oops. Oh. I can't whiff that. Hmm. Oh. What a pickup. Okay, so the other thing I'm noticing here, at least in neutral, is that they are expecting me to respect their plus frames, right? Or respect, like, situations where I shouldn't be pressing. So, like, we've seen me get away with a couple of these, like, kind of counter-hit jabs. And a lot of times it's because I'm pressing when I'm not necessarily plus, or a situation where I might get counter-hit. If they kept their string tight. So here I don't mind the spend, to be honest. Early spend here, but you get to meter back, and if I kill you this round, obviously, or rather, if you die in this round not using it, right? That sucks. So There was a little bit of a a thing there. I would have supered either way, and it would have left them like a sliver with a mix-up there. So I think some of that's just I'll chalk that up to just a little bit of delay there. But what I am noticing though is that in the corner, I think they're not as decisive when it comes to defensive options. I think they're blocking a lot, which is fine. But every so often, you do need to represent a different option, right? So every meaty that I've kind of done so far has, I've just been doing whatchamacallit. Like, I've just been doing meaty strike throw, and they've been taking it, a lot of it, right? There's been a couple situations where they did reversal, right? Like that one drive rush interaction. Oh, that's not safe. And no punish. A little predictable on the, Oop. A little predictable with the block string there. Okay, now they've adjusted. Oh no! I should be dead here, right? Yeah. Let's see. Oh, the whiff punished my jab. Dang. Okay. They've adapted to me parrying that, so it's good. Oh. Super? Okay. So that was actually pretty sick. So the jab came out. I was assuming that it would counter hit something, or I was maybe standing a little too far away and it just got counter hit by the crouching medium punch. Oh, that was a good backdash. Alright, so they're walking up throwing now, which is a good adjustment to me parrying. Right? Oh, shit. Didn't link? Oh. So I've been able to hit them with DIs, so it could just be their mental stack's a little high in the corner, but you saw what happened there, right? They weren't able to really effectively fight their way out of the corner. And I think some of that is just not being comfortable with the offense that I'm running here. Oh. But I'm not doing anything particularly, like, tricky, right? I'm just kind of forcing them to make decisions. Right, so plus frames into throw, right? They went for maybe a jump backdash there. And then I think there they went for the DP and it got beat. So I think I have a kind of an idea what's going on, but let's bring them back on and see what they think. Hey buddy, what do you think? You're muted in Discord if you're talking.
Oh yeah, messing up some SLCD stuff that I've been trying to learn, and just I don't know, just didn't feel sharp.
Yeah, so I think like the SOCT stuff is, so in my opinion, it's whatever, right? You'll get there eventually. I'm not too worried about like the mechanical aspects of it. But what I did think is that I thought your meter usage was actually mostly fine. Situations where it kind of made sense to super or spend meter, I think you were mostly okay. You didn't burn out a ton, which normally when people talk about, oh, I have meter management issues, they burn out a lot or they die with a lot of meter, right? And I think neither of those things really happening. So I think you have a good sense of when to spend meter. Obviously there might have been some kill combos that, in general, that maybe, if you cash out versus just taking a more conservative approach, maybe that's some stuff on the table, but otherwise I thought it was mostly fine. But where I do think you might have been struggling more was kind of corner defense, right? So I was running sort of this strike throw mix offense, right? So I would kind of knock you down, I would get close to you with some plus frames, I would press a button, or I might throw you like that. that kind of constant guessing was happening for you, and eventually you get opened up, right? Because you're constantly having to try to figure out what's happening. And then when you did defend successfully, which you did a lot to your credit, you did able to defend the mix-up successfully. Once you were kind of stuck in the corner, you had a hard time fighting your way out without having to jump or do something else unsafe, right? Or, you know, maybe you were too close to a tiger knee or something like that, or where you couldn't really use those tools and you were forced to play uncomfortable neutral. And that's kind of where you get opened up again, right? It would be like, oh, I'm trying to press buttons to hit him so I can driver's cancel, get out. And then you get whiff punished and all of a sudden you're back in the corner again, right? So with that, so I'm sharing my screen in Discord. Let's take a look at one of these replays, and we can talk about some of the situations I was referring to here, and kind of look at it in depth and see what we can do, potentially do different here. So let's take. I think this one might be the one. Let's take this one. Okay. Let this play out a little bit. So nice jump in.
Oh, I haven't used the Discord sharing, so okay.
Yeah,
There it is.
if you click, I think you can click on my name there, and it says live, and you'll be able to see it. Just let me know when you can.
Yep, I got it.
All right, cool. So just to talk about this again, so this is a good jump. Right? Uppercut? Okay, so again, this is actually very, very efficient meter use here, right? This is 3,000 damage on a jump in for 1 bar, right? This is a lot of damage here. And you get all this damage, and you get a safe jump, right? So you could have went into a DP for a little bit more damage, but safe jump I think makes sense here, right? So offensively, this is fine, right? I think this is a good spend for meter wise, right? A very efficient 1 bar combo for a jump in, right? Right. So here, where I think, so this was one of the things that I was noticing, and I kind of bring it up in the stream, is that there are a lot of times where I press buttons in weird spots, right? I maybe noticed it, maybe didn't, but there was a lot of times where it's like I would press buttons and I would kind of mash on certain situations, and you'd get counter hit, right? And a lot of that has to do with like how you're running your offensive sequencing, right? So what I mean by that is when you get plus frames, like this situation right here. So after this, right, I have to block this. I can't do anything here, right? I have to delay tech, really, to try to, or, you know, fuzzy, low-high delay tech here to try to block the safe jump. I'm minus here, so against Sagat here, pressing is really scary because you get a good trade combo if I go for a 4-framer, right? So I just take the second one. And then I had noticed that you'd go for a third button here a lot of the time, right? So I started parrying. This was like game 2 or 3 or something like that. So I started parrying here. And you notice it too, to your credit, right? You notice it in like the later games where you started going for throws and stuff. But here, right after this, right? So since you don't do anything, I just press, right? And this, again, this is kind of a weird timing for me to press. But what I'm testing here is if you're going to do something that will frame trap me here, right? So with Sagat's Jinrai here, I'm pretty sure it's a frame trap if you go for like the low here, or the lights, right? I forget what it is. Let me see.
Yeah. I try to mix that up, but I don't know. I don't know how dependable it is.
Yeah. Let me see. I think I want to say it's the lights.
Yeah, the low frame traps.
Low frame traps, right? So if I press there and you go for the low, I'll get hit, right? For the or the low, the light, right? The overhead, I'll get frame trapped, right? So since you don't do anything here, you know, this works out for me. But had you actually followed that up, I would have gotten frame trapped, right? I would have gotten counter hit there. But for me, I'm testing to see if you're just gonna kind of back off, and I'm just trying to frustrate you here with this, right? So if you think about it, right, it's like, oh, I had offensive initiative here. I'm doing something here that most people won't press against. So normally I get away with doing nothing here or walking away, right? Maybe I can back up out of pressure safely. People just continue blocking. But me being me, I don't do that, right? I actually kind of challenge you here just to see what would happen, right? And I happen to get a counter hit. So all this really means is that I think that if your opponent is doing what I'm doing here and pressing in kind of spots that don't make sense, make sure you keep your frame traps and like other things tight, right? Meaning, don't let me get away with this, right? Because again, like on my end, if I get counter hit here, I'll stop doing it, right? Because I'm getting hit now, right? And you're doing that, and then I'll go back to blocking, maybe trying to parry, whatever. But I won't try to steal the turn back here. So that's an offensive sequencing thing to think about. As you get higher level, it's something you want to consider. I'd really doubt people are pressing here against you here, so you probably get away with this more often than not, right? So anyway, get a small conversion here. And then here it looks like, what did you do defensively? Let's see. All right, so you do back roll and you block. Okay, I think this is fine, right? Blocking mid-screen like this is totally fine. If you try to delay tech here, because I'm using drive rush, right, and Ken's drive rush allows me to kind of slide. If you delay tech here, I think you might, it's a big risk, right? If I shimmy you here against like a pretty decent sized combo, just blocking is usually pretty safe, because if I go for a button here, right, you can block it, deal with plus frames, not as big a deal. And then the throw here is I spent a bar for 1200 damage, right? It's not like the greatest damage in the world. But Ken's back throw is kind of absurd, right? He gets to roll back and throws you in the corner here. So, the trade-off of like how much damage you take versus your positional advantage is something you'll have to consider. I do think that given your life total, taking the throw is fine, and trying to fight your way out of the corner is probably okay. Versus if you were to delay tech here and I shimmy you, you take way more damage in the corner anyway because it's Ken, right? You end up with like a run Tatsu end of the corner. So
Yeah, I should probably tech more in that situation just because I know people want to go for the back throw there, but
yeah, and
that's something I think of, but sometimes mid game I just forget.
yeah. Yeah, and I think that's just part of playing more and more, right? It's just like, oh, I need to make sure that I'm aware of my defensive options during that. But I mean, delay teching there is actually okay. Also, it's not like the worst decision in the world. It's just you have to weigh out, what you're willing to lose to, right? So, at any rate, you kind of get hit here. So let's take a look what happened here. Right, so you kind of whiff this button. So let's take a look what happened here. And then I just press, right? So press your buttons, you press your button here, right? Then right here, sorry, one sec. Let's get to the right frame. There you go, right here, right? So after this jab happens, right? I'm actually plus now. It's my turn, technically. Right here, right? So I could have pressed anything. If I was willing to take my turn back aggressively, I would press at this point right here, right? And that would likely, well, let me put it this way. Pressing in this situation right here, given the spacing and all that, is a little bit dangerous, right? So for Sagat here, if you were to press your crouching medium punch here immediately after, and I tried to take my turn back aggressively with like a 6-frame button, something like that, I would get space trapped likely, right? Like Ken's crouching medium punch and crouching medium kick may not reach from here, right? So if I like do this, oop, that's the wrong person. Right? So I get punished countered there, right? But from what the sequence that you actually put through. Similarly, if I try to take my turn back with like a crouching medium kick or something like that, right, that would actually hit you. But I may not have been sure at that point, right, if the spacing was correct or not for it, right? Because additionally, you could also just back up a little bit if I do that immediately, and then you would hit me with the same button, right, crouching medium punch, something like that, right? So,
yeah, I need to back up there more. And honestly, I still get kind of tripped up over how lights work in this game compared to older games. And the frame disadvantage it
okay,
leaves you at.
yeah, we can talk about that. Yeah.
And as well, I'm trying to reformulate where my fingers are on a
Okay.
lever list since the buttons are smaller and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
used to like jumping around and double tapping and
yeah.
oftentimes I want to jab or short and I'm like hitting this strong by accident.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, it's definitely a change to the mechanics, right? Because I know for a lot of, especially a lot of the players that have been around a lot longer that have been using stick and like the 30mm buttons, they're used to pressing it with like two fingers, right? Like I know I played like that for a while, where you would kind of press like this. Well, I don't know if you can't see my face, obviously, see the stream, but you'd put your index and middle finger together as like a one big finger, and that's how you would press, right? But with a leverless, you don't have to do that anymore, right? So, but yeah, I mean, again, mechanical things aside, we could definitely talk about the light string thing here. But the point I wanted to bring up here was that my thought, like as I'm defending this, is I don't want to get space trapped by your follow up button, right? So if you
Yeah.
press that button at a good range where my crouching medium kick may not reach you, and I'm not sure. If you were to back up immediately after that and I press, I may whiff, and then you can just get a free space trap for free, right? And then from there, it's a crouching medium punch driver's cancel, right? And or crouching, even
Yeah.
a crouching heavy punch potentially, right? And I'm gonna take big damage for trying to take my turn back, right? So, and that's a pretty big integral thing to SF6. We definitely could talk about the light stuff, definitely. Just remind me if I don't. But yeah, that's kind of what happens here, right? Is that's why I don't press right away. But what ends up happening here instead, though, is you press a button that whiffs, right? That if I
Mhm.
did nothing, it would whiff, right? And then from here, I actually try to. I don't know. I wouldn't know. I don't know if that's exactly a like whiff punish reaction necessarily, but it's kind of there, right? So if you think about how
Yeah.
long it took for me to react to this, right? It's like 2, 5, 9, 13, 14, 15 ish frames. So is it reasonable to think that was whiff punish? Maybe. I could have also just been pressing like delayed. Either way, though, you pressed a button that would whiff, right? And that's kind of the main
Right.
driver of what got you hit here. So that's something to consider, I think. I'll bring it up here now, is that you do have to watch out for spacing in particular, right? So pressing a button that's going to whiff will probably get you killed in this game more than previous games, because there's a lot more recovery frames in general in this game versus previous games, right? And you probably noticed that too, is that, there's a lot of like recovery lag now, right, for a lot of these moves. Sometimes, for heavies, it can be like 19, 17, 18, 19 frames or whatever, right? It's a lot of lag time. So just be careful when you're trying to go for these kind of sequences here. If you are going to go for that type of thing, I would say that you should consider trying to press a button that would reach me, right? So if you had gone for
Yeah.
a bigger button here, maybe, but I think you would have gotten kind of counter hit anyway, right? Like if I pushed the button the same timing here, given the frame meter and all that, you would have likely gotten counter hit if you went for that button, right? So you kind of have to decide how you want to steal the right now. For Sagat in particular, if he's not landing the stand medium punch for plus frames, I do think it's better for him to try to whiff punish versus trying to frame trap in that sense, right? So, but that's up to you on how you want to play that. Instead, you take a full combo here, right? So you just block. That's fine, right? So this whole sequence you defended, right? I tried to go for a meaty here. You didn't go for like a jump, backdash, or anything of that nature, so you just block it out. I go for a Jinrai kick here, spaces me out. It's hard to punish that, so it's totally fine. You try to take your space back here with a crouching heavy, right? Doesn't quite reach, but I don't react and whiff punish this, so it's fine. And then good jump out, right? So this whole sequence was defended pretty well, right? You took the hit, but you're able to get out of the corner, and now I have to defend. So let's see what happens. So why'd that work? Let's take a look. Right, so I blocked this
Oh,
standing.
I think I had a missed input there where I hit short instead of jab.
Let's see. Yeah, you hit the crouching light kick. But if you look at the frame meter either way, because I blocked the knee standing from that distance, I'm actually plus. Right? So I immediately throw you, and this would actually counter hit any sort of jab that you do, right? Because even if you did a Sagat's 4-framer here, if you look at the frame meter, I would have caught the startup of that, right? So that was a conscious thing on my part to block that standing, right? Like, I see the knee happening, so I stood up to try to block it, right? So I block it. Since I block it standing, I get the plus frames now, right? So if you do it the other way, let's see.
Oh yeah, one of my kind of notes to myself has been to watch for the screen shake, but mid game I haven't been good at noticing that.
It's tough. It's tough. It's really hard to see it. It took me a long time to get used to it, and they did, to Capcom's credit, make it a little bit easier to see, but it's really hard. So like stuff
I
like,
feel like it's more subtle than Terry's,
yeah,
because Terry's
Terry's
comes
got
out.
like the whole thing moves, right? But for
Yeah.
Sagat, it's less so. So normally, I mean, I try to look for it. If I don't notice it, I'll try to see if I blocked the tiger knee standing or crouching, right? Because if I'm crouching, then you're gonna be plus, right? So let me see here. Hold on. Let me just get the right spot here. Oh, right. So here, if I block this standing, right, it's you see that I have some frame advantage there, right? So, but if I do it the other way, block this crouching, right? So you get the frame advantage in that scenario, right? So it's just something you'll have to keep in mind if you are going to use knee like that for pressure in that situation. Just know that if your opponent blocks it standing from that distance, you're going to be minus, right? Not punishable, but it was -2, right? So you tried to steal
I
you
don't
you
even
tried
want
to
to.
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't even want to use it like that, and I'm trying to get myself to stop.
Do it less,
I
yeah.
feel like I started doing it even though I don't want to.
And it's sort of a it's one of those things, and I talk about this a lot, is that like because you haven't been getting punished for something, that's what kind of causes you to do it more, right? So it's like if I'm getting away with this sort of looped tiger knee type pressure where if the opponent blocks standing, it's no longer my turn, but if they continue to crouch, it will be. Like if they don't know or they don't bother to block that standing, then by all means continue doing that, right? You have the plus frames, you have the advantage there, take advantage of that, right? But if it stops working, that's when you kind of have to figure out if that's worth continuing to do or not, right? So in this case, obviously I block it standing, so I go for a throw, which if you try to steal your turn, and because you're point blank, means I might just be able to grab you, right? And that's what happens here, is you get
Right.
grabbed out of your startup, right? Right. So this conversion was pretty dope. Like I take a ton of damage here for a jump in, right? That's a lot, right? For my jump in. And then you get a safe jump. I can't reversal against this, so I have to block. Right? And then here was one of those situations where I pressed when you're plus, right? So right here, very, very risky on my part to do. But the reason I did it was because you had been going for for two reasons. One is that you're not point blank, right? So you have there's a little
Right.
bit of space here. So that means that your second one is probably not going to be like if you do it again right here, it might whiff, right? It might like the pushback might be enough. The second thing is that because of that, it's likely, at least in my mind, that you would go for a slightly bigger button because I had been blocking the last 6 or 7 times that you got this pressure on me, right? But the main difference here was the space, right? And I think you noticed it too, and that's why you go for a different button, right? So I just go for a jab to stop the 6 framer here, right? So again, this is very risky on my part because if like I am wrong, you win, right? Like I'm gonna be dead here. But if I'm right, I might have been able. I don't think I'd be able to kill you necessarily, but I will be able to stop your momentum here. Maybe I spend a little more. I could probably get you closer, but this is still one interaction now, right? So
Mhm.
now from this situation, I have plus frames, right? If you back up here, you're getting clipped, which happens, right? But like the situation gets flipped a little bit, and now I have a chance to get you to guess your game here, right? And I think like and something that happened to you a lot here was you get clipped by crouching medium kick, right? Right, and the reason for that is because a lot of people in that scenario will hold back. They'll just try to back up out of that pressure. Like I hit them or you get hit, and it's like, oh, I don't like the situation. I'm gonna try to back up. So that is something that, and we'll see throughout the rest of the games that happens more and more. But it's definitely something where you need to be conscious of if you're finding yourself backing up in a lot of situations and you're getting hit by crouching medium kick. Like that's what's happening. Is you're trying to move after a sequence of some kind. So something to keep in mind. Take a look at.
Yeah.
But so if I were to talk about like that last round, where it kind of where you kind of lost it, if you will, was mostly the interactions. Some of the interactions in the corner, right? So there were some situations where I was able to open you up, or I was able to get a hit, but where all of that kind of predicated on me putting you into the corner and you not really being able to fight your way out of it, right? So it kind of put additional kind of mental tax on you to try to quote unquote play more neutral. And then when that started happening, you started, starting to push buttons in situations that maybe you get whiff punish, right? Or I was able to put you in a situation where I kind of induced you to walk backwards because I hit you. And then I just made a bit of a read on your movement and then able to steal the game from there, right? So we'll see it more hopefully in this round too. We can talk about more of the corner defense stuff, but let's get into the game here. All right, good conversion.
Could have been better.
Yeah, but it's okay. I mean, the way I see it is if you are able to steal a conversion with lights, like this 1600 damage is better than no damage, right? It's better than me blocking something, and it's better than me hitting you, right? So could it have been better? Maybe, but it was from a jab, and you reacted a little late, but you reacted and got your damage, right? So this is not the worst position here, right? Like, if you think about it from, like, an overall game perspective, I've been hit once. I'm closer to the corner than you are now. I'm on the back foot a little bit. If you decided to drive right here, I'd have to deal with that. You don't, it's okay. But you're putting me closer to the corner, right? So, again, all in all, like, all of this is good, right? Could it have been better? Maybe, right? If you had converted to something else or used drive rush. But for a light conversion, I think it's totally fine. All right, so here I notice you're trying to get me to walk forward, or at least trying to cover that space, right? So it's a little bit far, right? You can see I'm kind of 3/4 screen. If I was standing, I don't know, maybe a little bit closer here, right outside of this range, then maybe these buttons are probably better to be pressing here. But kind of whiffing these buttons like this is it can be bad if, like, you're playing against maybe like a modern player or someone else that has like twitchy reactions. They could punish you for it, right? Like, if you've played some of the folks in Fight Rise and all that, like, there's some really, really high level modern players. If you whiff a heavy in front of them like this, you'll get supered, right? Like, and that sucks, right? Getting whiff punished with a super is terrible. So you do have to be careful about whiffing buttons here. Now, against me, I'm not, I'm old, so I won't react like that, but you do have to be careful about this, right? Because you're kind of wasting actions, if you will, right? It's not hurting you necessarily, but it's not really helping either. Because if you were to think about what you could be doing instead of pressing those buttons, you could be walking forward. And if you walk forward, that's what puts pressure on me to react, right? So, but since you're kind of far away, I'm not really interested in dealing with that, right? So
I was trying to throw a
fireball. Okay.
And on the lever list, sometimes I end up pressing punch before I finish the motion.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's see.
I'm like,
gotcha. Okay. So my point still stands. Don't whiff buttons from this far away.
Yeah.
But you do need to be. That's just mechanical work, I think, right? So not a huge deal. All right. So that was good. How'd you land this hit? Let's take a look. I jump.
Should have been using jab.
Yeah.
At that point.
Oh, from here, maybe. But this hits.
Yeah, the stand jab, which I'm not using enough.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the situation, right? Here, I think this is a perfectly adequate button to press here. Driver's cancel. This is good. Right. I think this is a good spend, right? For a couple of reasons. One is that you're behind on meter, so this is totally fine. You're down a round, and that's, that is what it is. And it's very early in the second round, right? So realistically speaking, you'll likely have level 2, maybe even level 3 by the start of next round if you make it there, right? So no reason not to spend here, in my opinion. But and this may be more personally, I tend to spend meter more kind of judiciously in these situations, right? Especially if I'm down around. If I'm up around in this same situation, maybe I don't spend. Maybe I kind of just take the conversion here. But if I'm down around in your situation, I would 100% spend here, right? So.
Yeah. I feel like I want to spend it here so I can rebuild some back for the third round.
100%.
Potentially.
Yeah. Because if you die with it here, then it's like, well, right? Like, not using it and losing is even worse, right? So you might as well go for it, right?
Yeah.
Right, so delay tech through that, totally fine. Plus frames, drive rush cancel, totally fine.
Yeah, I should punish that.
Yeah, and this is where I think part of it is just the neutral game, like the footsies aspect, right? Because if you look at what's happening here, like, we're both trying to land our buttons at the max ranges, right? I think you have a pretty good idea of where you need to be pressing. It's just that I'm kind of weaving in and out of that range a little bit, right? So you do outrange me. Like, let's not kid around about that. Sagat's buttons do outrange me, but they're slower, right? So if I were to do like a walk-up stand light kick or like a crouching medium punch or something, or try to whiff punish, right? That can make pressing a little scary, right? So, but yeah, I mean, as far as neutral goes, I think you have the right idea though, right? Is you're trying to land stuff at the tip of the range, and a lot of the whiffs, as I'm looking at them now more and more, it looks like you're trying to input something potentially, and it's just the wrong, the thing isn't coming out, right? So, I have no issue with that. Like that's just mechanical again. So, but again, here the jump in happens, and you just get kind of hit by it, right? Like you press the button, it's a punish
Yeah.
counter, nothing you do about that. So good reaction here. I like the EXDP on someone's driver, especially from that distance. I've committed to doing something there from that spacing. So good EXDP.
Should have drive rushed.
Potentially here, right? So if you look at the meter situation after this, right? So right here, right? If you look at the meter situation, it's a little bit risky for you to drive rush, right? So you're kind of making a bigger bet if you do that, right? So you have some life to give here, but if you do a drive rush and I do something like a wake up super, right, or something else that might break or reversal through this, or I defend your mix up, then you use the bar close to burnout here, and likely you'll give me level 3 also, right? So if I block something or whatever, right? So could I kill you from that situation? No, probably not, right? But if you're a bar down and you walk up,
I could get burned out.
You maybe, right? You'd probably be at like a bar and a half by the time the interaction is done because you did raw drive rush. Some of it comes back because I have to block something, and then you're kind of down a bar, right? And then because right now I'm still ahead in meter, even though I'm getting knocked down here, I'm still ahead in this department, right? So I'll have a drive rush cancel soon. You won't, right? So you did a good job there. So now you're ahead, right? So you forced me to block some tiger shots, right? So now you're ahead. So would that whole situation have been the same had you drive rush? Probably not, right? Like how the texture of that will completely change if you went for that setup or something else instead of what you actually did. So can't talk about that, right? So now you're trying to do stuff, right? I'm trying to do stuff also. And then here is just not reacting to DI, right? So like I see you trying to press it here, and it could just be that there was some. Let's see.
I'm trying to change how I press DI. Okay, so I've been like jumping between different lever lists, trying to find a layout that I like, and I'm trying to change up how I press DI. But until I get that down mechanically, it's like one of those things where I trip myself up because I'm like halfway between doing it the old way and the new way.
Yeah, like your brain hasn't quite internalized the process yet. Yeah, that's totally fine. It's tough to defend this mostly because you're concerned about everything else that's happening, right? So I think that something, and we'll take a look at some of the one of the replays that you sent me and see if this happens there also. But it get very difficult to defend in the corner because the mental stack is so much higher, right? As soon as you're cornered, like DI becomes a
but
thing.
Also that's like the main thing I should be really afraid of in the corner. So
kind of, yeah.
Like I feel like that's another thing I'm messing up.
It's definitely up there in terms of like where it needs to be on your mental stack. It should be up there. But what makes it tough is that the threat of DI is like what causes that. If that makes sense, right? The threat of DI means you're dedicating mental stack to that, and then I'm just trying to play unfair neutral, right? Is what I tend to call it because you can't back up anymore, right? So okay, let's bring up one of the replays you sent.
I used to be a twitchy player, but I feel like I need to adjust to an old man style.
A little less whatchamacallit, a little more maybe a little more predictive, maybe a little more just not trying to twitch react and rely on that as much.
Yep, and playing Sagat is part of that, but I'm also getting used to his slow walk speed.
Yeah, that's brutal. Like it's hard to like shimmy and do other stuff when he he walks so slow, right? So why my copy paste isn't working? Just give me a sec here. Sorry, just bear with me. There we go. Okay, so that was a win. Let's take a look at one.
So I didn't have many ranked matches yet because since the patch came out, I came back. I started trying a couple of different lever lists. I started checking out the events on Fight Rise, so I only had a handful of ranked matches to send.
Let's take a look. So I kind of want to see one. All right, that's fine. Let's take a look at these. Let's see if there was one where you had a. So Dawson can be kind of tough to talk about. I don't know why my copy paste doesn't always work through this. Oops. Fine. Okay. That's both wins. Man, crushing everybody with this Sagat.
I didn't have lost a sin because I'm on like something of a streak in ranked right now.
Yeah. If you're when you're hot, right? You're hot. When you're hot, right? So let's take a look at this one. I
But I'm
think.
also playing ranked when I'm not tired after work.
Oh,
So,
so you're more.
oh, maybe I should just like get on and grind more.
Maybe. We can talk about. We can take a look at this one. We'll talk about maybe just specific defensive situations that might be better to talk about. And we'll see if some of the tendencies that I was talking about earlier come out during this. Right. So let's take a look. We'll use Terry here because this is like generally the easiest to talk about. Right. Sim is a weird matchup. It's hard to dissect that because what you're doing a lot of time is just weird because it has to be because it's also weird. And then JP also, right, trying to play a zoner against a zoner that can be kind of tough. So Terry being a more showdown character.
I feel like they're really hard to win with Sagat, but the sim matchup actually seems pretty bad for sim from the few games I've had.
It seems to be because you can kind of once you don't have to get as close to get in, right? So, right. So here's
Right, and I can kind of cover his float and cover his slide in different ways.
yeah, the buttons just take up a lot of space, right?
Yeah.
Went for DI. A good whiff punish here. Okay, so right here, right? This was tough. So let's take a look at this whole sequence up to that driver's cancel. So he parries that, and but because he parried, but it was the wrong parry, that doesn't that. But okay, so he does an imperfect parry, which doesn't change the frame data, but he blocks it standing. Or weird.
It might count as a
I think
crouch block,
yeah, I
right?
think
Yeah.
actually he blocked crouching. So imperfect parry. So you are plus, but you don't press right away. Right? So there's like 4 frames before you go for this throw. So if you are going to go for that, right, it needs to be... I don't know if it's going to reach. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna reach.
Oh, it does. So if you do that...
Okay.
Yeah. So if you are going to do that, make sure that you keep that frame tight. Whether you mash it out, time it, whatever, but make sure that you don't leave any gap there, right? So that's what the Terry did, was he actually jabbed a little bit late, and it caught you throwing late, right? So if you look at the frame meter here, right? He doesn't press right away. So there's neutral now, right? Oop. Right there. Now it's neutral. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... You know, he does basically kind of a delayed jab here. Right? He waits like 5-ish frames to press his jab. So if he had gone for a throw, you would have thrown him, obviously, because he's not doing anything. And since he didn't delay tech, he can't delay tech and delay jab at the same time, obviously, right? So, you know, this ends up hitting you because you're late on the throw, essentially, right? Again, not a big deal. Maybe you thought it would whiff, right? But we saw it here.
No,
if you land that,
I think I thought he would backwalk, and I was trying to chase him down.
oh, okay. So like here, from right here, maybe he tries to back up. But if he had backed up, backdash, something like that, the throw might whiff here. But if you're trying to walk forward to get the throw, I think that's okay. But you just got to remember, like, Sagat's walk speed is kind of slow, right? So you got to be careful there. I do think that if you land that knee, you can't go for throw, if that's the case, right? So anyway. Ends up not being a big deal because he doesn't convert that into a DP at all, so... Okay, so you driver's cancel here, right? So, right, so you get this sequence here, you driver's cancel, and now you don't, you know, you have a little bit over 3 bars, right? So here, I would definitely consider being careful about the next driver's cancel interaction, right? So if you do land something, I would try to go for a meterless conversion because you'd be worried about burnout here, especially because this sequence was blocked, right? Since it was defended, you do have to be careful about your meter moving forward here. That's like the downside of driver's cancel. You lose half your bar, and if it doesn't work or doesn't land, or they defend the mix-up, then you're in a situation where you lose the ability to extend again if they take their offense back, right?
Yeah, and I'm also doing the wrong thing after a drivers because I spent forever training myself to do something specific with the Kuma,
Hmm.
and now I like can't seem to unlearn it, and
Oh,
it's been killing me.
yeah, yeah. You ended in the lower tiger shot, right? Instead of like the tiger, the nexus or like something else. So, that's again mechanical in nature. So I'm not too concerned about that. I'm sure we'll work that out, right? So you go for the DI here, assuming that he would press maybe like a stand medium kick or something like
Yeah, I'm
that.
trying to think if that was a second game read or if
Could have been.
I was just being
He's landed a hit here.
crazy or mispressing something.
Let's see. It looks like he went for it.
I probably I was probably expecting a burn knuckle.
Yeah, or stand medium kick or stand heavy kick, and I
Yeah.
think that's reasonable, right? So if you consider the spacing now from right here after you hit him, right? So right here is neutral, right there. Like
Hmm.
from Terry's perspective, like there's not a lot of buttons he can press that will reach you, right? Maybe stand heavy kick reaches, maybe, I don't know. Might whiff. Stand medium kick will probably whiff, right? So there's not a lot of buttons he can press here. But if he did try to press a button, this DI would blow it up probably, right? Like if he wanted, it's like I'm gonna press my heavy button to try to reach you. The buttons that might reach you would be my heavies, and if I do the stand heavy kick, it'll get blown up by DI, right? So, like if you were reading that and he had been doing that previous game, then I think it's sort of reasonable to do that. But instead, he holds up forward right after this, right? So doesn't quite get the punish I think he wanted here, but it is what it is. Right, so here, right, this is tough.
Yeah, I gotta watch my
Yeah,
meter
watch the meter here,
points like
right?
this.
Yeah. So if you like land that, I think you can get there might be a 2-bar conversion potentially. I forget. I haven't played Sagat in a little while. But from
Yeah,
here,
I could probably combo that into the EX Nexus.
yeah, EX Nexus, right? And then you can end it with like the knee, and then you get a safe jump, right? So you would do the juggle into the knee, and then safe jump enter, right? So I think that might be a better use if you do that, because I think you need to do OD. But, oh no, it's punish counter. So like you could probably get away with it as like a meterless conversion. You'd have to lab it. I'm not sure. But the idea though would be that if you find yourself in this situation where you land a whiff punish with like a medium like this, have a meterless conversion in mind if you can, right? So
Oh yeah, I have led that. That's something I've been forgetting.
yeah, it's like I think it's heavy nexus. So heavy nexus into launcher, and then tiger knee. I think is what it is because it's punish counter. So I
Well, it
think that
won't
works.
combo off a low medium like that,
Oh really?
but
Oh,
off a punish counter and EX Nexus will combo.
okay. So the 2 meter spend might be okay. I think it's better than burning out for sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that might be
or
something
even
to
just Tiger
consider.
Knee or something.
Yeah, or something like that, right? Whatever sort of conversion that you can take from there, because you don't
Mhm.
want to be in this situation where you're burned out now.
Yep.
Because even though you have advantage here, you can't really extend anymore, right? You don't really have a way to keep the pressure on, and even if you corner them, the threat of DI is no longer there, right? So they're able to kind of defend that a little bit easier. Let's see what happens here. Oh, you catch him pressing. Catch him pressing again.
I think
Oh, okay.
was trying to combo that into a Juggo and not doing that right.
Hmm.
And I was like, maybe I can get it again.
Yeah, try to go for a second time. And it works though, right? So if you look, right, so the Terry is minus here. And what does he press? He presses a crouching medium punch. And you catch him with this, right? So
Uh-huh.
he's minus. He goes through a big button for some reason, right? And then you catch him here. So, like, this is totally fine. Like, the sequencing is totally fine. In fact, you're probably going to get your meter soon pretty. You get your meter back pretty soon here, right? Okay. Okay. All right. So, what happened here was Terry obviously didn't know what to do in the corner, right? Once he got your meter back, he was like kind of flustered because he had gotten counter hit like twice, right? So, sequencing
Yeah, I'm
wise,
watching him input 3, 4 buttons at a time, and I'm trying to figure out what he's trying to do.
yeah. So I don't know either because he's just getting hit, right? He's trying to press his crouching medium punch probably to try to. Oh, there he tried to jump. And then there you try to take a turn back, right? So this sequencing here is actually pretty good from you, right? So this is going to eat up anybody that tries to press against you here, right? In fact, like he should actually be mashing jab, if anything, right? So I don't know why he's doing this, but he is. And this sequencing that you're doing here is just killing him, right? Because he presses again,
Yeah.
he goes for DI, and it's like, why, right? Why would you go for DI there? At any rate, though, and then here he's like, oh, what do I do now? I don't want to get hit again. Parry, and then and then he do nothing, and then he just walk up throw,
That
right?
wasn't
So
even a punish count.
not even right. Like he could have teched, but I think he gave up. So that round I think actually worked pretty well for you. The only commentary I could give there, only note I would give is to watch that burnout, right? So if you find yourself in a situation where it's close to burnout, just be careful about not burning out, right? So otherwise, I thought it was fine. Let's take a look at this one. All right, just getting hit.
I'm like, okay, maybe I can just keep throwing fireballs.
Maybe he does. The Terry seems uninterested in playing neutral with you, right? So your fireballs are better than his. So, oh, that's so sick. But a good anti-air though. All right, so he parries that. So again, counter hit, right? So why is he getting counter hit here?
Because he's trying to hit a low strong, I think.
Same thing, right? He's trying to press low, crouching medium punch when he's minus and he's late, right? So he's 2 frames back. Even if he was on time with this, he still would get counter hit, right? So the lesson to take from this, and I guess I'll tell you since we're seeing it on here, is if you see your opponent pressing like this, continue doing this type of stuff, right? You leave gaps that are wide enough for like a 2 frame or 3 frame gap so that you can frame trap them, and make sure at the same time that you are keeping those tight, right? So the difference between what happened here versus when we were playing and I was getting away with it was that I was kind of mashing. I was basically trying to get press it right away. And then you try to get greedy, right? So like if you went for sort of this type of pressure here, this would actually result in a trade for you, right? Or a trade for me, which is still bad, right? If that's the case. But if you got for something else like a walk up or something like that, then it would catch you, right? So if you see your opponent continuing to just press, which is continuing to happen here, keep doing what you're doing. Right? This is working. Because he's dead here, right? Yeah, he's totally dead here. So offensive sequencing wise, this is perfect, right? So defensively for this Terry, and something for you to keep in mind is that if they are mashing, this is the right offense to run, right? If they start doing something else, then you have to adjust to that, right? So at any rate, though, I think like the main things that you were talking about and that I noticed was really just kind of boiled down to some of the neutral stuff, and in the corner as well, right? So I'll talk about this a little bit here. Is that in the corner, it's very difficult to play neutral, right? And that's kind of what I was doing. Was that at least the way that I was kind of beating you in the games we played, was that I would get you in the corner. I would run some sort of mix up. If it hits you, knock you down, go back to step 1, do it again. But if you defended it, which you did, what ended up happening was I would back off and stand somewhere under the timer, right? Somewhere close to under the timer. What that would effectively do was keep me out of the range of most of your buttons. I would have to be back a little bit because Sagat has long range buttons, whatever, but it would keep me out of the range of most of your buttons, but still stand close enough to you where you feel like I could threaten you with anything, right? So if you try to jump, I could DP it potentially. And if I wanted to try to induce a whiff, I could walk forward and back. You'd have to press a button, right, to try to keep me out, and I could whiff punish you. Or if you're afraid of me with punishing you, then you're trying to, then you get kind of passive, right? Then I can just kind of walk up throw or walk up and do something else, right? So your ability to control space is removed because you're in the corner, right? You can't back up anymore. So the way that people deal with that, right? And Sagat can deal with that to some extent because he has really good buttons, is one of 2 ways, right? So that, and this doesn't include like jumping, tiger knees, like neutral skips, drive rush, like all that other stuff. Like if we're talking about like how do I get out of the corner semi-stable-ish, right, without having to take too much risk. The 2 ways to do it would be for you to either try to prevent me from walking up, right? So by cover attack, right, by trying to press buttons as I walk into your space, or you walk forward into my space and try to take initiative, right? Walk forward, press a button, try to hit me, basically, right? Because your ability to whiff punish is now taken away, right? You can't back up anymore. You can't induce a whiff necessarily, right? So you have to take some level of risk to do that. For Sagat in particular, I think like using some of those bigger buttons to cover the space so that I have to back up so that you can walk forward a little bit to gain some space is how you go about it, right? So like that's kind of the way that you would get out of that situation. Again, the hard part is that when you're playing somebody that is preventing you from doing that, and it feels like every button you press gets whiff punished, and every time you walk back you get clipped, like it becomes a situation where you're kind of passive. You don't want to press any buttons because you're being punished for it, right? So I think it's just you have to be willing to walk forward, press buttons, or be willing to try to cover like me walking up, right? You just kind of have to identify
Right.
which of those things I'm trying to do, and then apply the counter, right? It's easier said than done, obviously, but I think defensively, like that's kind of the next step for you, right? Because like when it came to the mix-ups, I thought you did fine, right? You blocked most of them, you delayed tech every so often, which was fine. You reversaled a couple of times and got through, right? So it's like I think the frequency at which you select defensive options is okay. I think the real struggle for you is that once you've defended and the Oki and you're standing back up, now it's like how do I get out of the corner, right? How do I fight my way out of the corner? So unfortunately, it does involve taking more risk. That's just what it is. So yeah, that's one thing. And then you wanted to talk about lights, right? How they work in this game in particular.
Well, mentally, I have a note to just jab out, maybe change my timing a bit and try to whiff trap.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
in game, I'm not doing that enough.
Okay. Yeah, and it has to do with like the chain cancels, right? So chain cancels in the mix up that happens there. So there's a lot that kind of goes into that. Um, we can talk about it if you're interested, but if you have an idea of what you want to do with your light string already, I won't. Probably don't need to talk about it.
And
Yeah.
sometimes I forget that the chains aren't um, don't force solid blocks done in this
Oh,
game.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, like the chains leave a one frame gap for most of them. So it's not like unless they're in burnout, obviously. But yeah, they
Right.
have an opportunity to mash. But if they're mashing, then your light string is gonna frame trap them, right? So yeah. And that all said, and the path forward for you, I think, really is kind of improving that corner defense. And this is actually one of the hardest
Mhm.
things to do, I think, in Street Fighter Six, right? So, or in general, but Street Fighter Six in particular because of all of the things that can happen. Now, the offense that I was running, this is Ken Shoto gaming offense, right? So there's no high-low mix, there's no overheads, right? There's no jumps or any sort of tricky mixes left, right, that type of thing. It ends up being a lot of like strike throw, right? Am I going to do a meaty jab? Am I going to do a meaty throw? Should you delay tech? Should you not? Right? Should you wake up with a button? That type of thing.
Mhm.
That is hard to defend when it comes to Oki because you just have to guess, right? So what I will say for that, and this is something that's kind of helped me, and I don't know if it resonates with you or not, but there's no one option that beats everything, right? So you just kind of have to pick what you're okay losing to, and to your credit, you do a really good job about that, right? So it's like, I'm just gonna block and take a throw. That's perfectly fine, right?
Well,
So yeah, I mean, I think that's really what it kind of boils down to is that after you're able to defend the Oki, which you do, how do I get out of the corner, right? And that just becomes playing more neutral, right? Playing
I was
more.
forgetting parry and
Yeah,
drive
parry,
reversal.
drive reversal, reversal, like reversals in general, right? You could do that. Parry is a good option if you think of going for strike, right? But some of those options are hard reads, right? So like blocking will cover a good amount of that. Delay teching will cover some things, right? But if you go for parry, that specifically beats meaty strike, right? If you do wake up parry. But
Right.
if I go for a meaty throw, right, you take a punish counter throw, right? So, like some things are hard reads, and if you make that read, that's totally fine, right? Like I personally, I think that if you make a decision and stick with it and just do it, that's infinitely better than not making a decision, right? At least you
Yeah.
decided on something, right? Maybe that decision is blocking, right? Maybe you just like, oh, I'm just gonna block, right? So yeah, again, I think like where I was kind of getting you was really that corner neutral game piece, and I think like that's just something as you get higher and higher in ranks because you're able to see and defend more Oki situations. That's just something you'll have to come up with and how to improve that neutral. So yeah, I think the if I had any recommendations though, like to improve that, have you seen the what is it called? The Footsie's Trilemma video from High Fight.
Uh, yes,
Okay,
I pretty sure I have,
okay,
but I
that's
probably saved it to watch
it's
again
somewhere. Yeah,
because I forget over time.
yeah, that would be it. Honestly, going through that video again, identifying like what part of the triangle that your opponent is currently trying to play and how to counter that, right? Now, obviously, the corner's a little different because you can't whiff punish, but you can still try to induce something from them. And the whole goal really is not to necessarily get out of the corner, although that'd be nice. The real goal is to get some space back so that you can get back into the fight, right? So, like, if you're back against the corner, it's really difficult. But if you have a little bit of space, say like a character width, then you have a really good chance of fighting back, right? Now you have enough space to work with when it comes to that. So, but yeah, this game, really high mental stack, right? Drive rush, DI, jump ins, neutral skip tools, all that stuff is happening on top of the neutral game of like footsies, right? Pushing buttons, all that thing. So, really tough, really tough. But again, I think you do a pretty good job overall defending. It's just being put in that situation more and more will help with the experience that you need to be able to get out of it next time, basically. So.
Yeah, I think I need to change my mindset there so that I'm deciding on something off of read and kind of rotating,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to what I've done in older games where I try to twitch out the correct decision. I don't think that can really fly in this game.
Yeah, you're gonna get hit more often than not because
Yeah.
what ends up happening is a lot of the setup. I mean, and in general, right? I think for fighting games, like the setups are gonna be, especially to get higher level, the setups are gonna be pretty airtight, right? There is a decision to be made on what to do beforehand. Like it's hard to twitch react to something in particular. There are situations where you can, right? So like if someone goes for a shimmy maybe or something like that, you could try to react to that, but it's very difficult, right? So if you're that type of player and you can do it, by all means go for it because it's gonna be you're gonna if
I
you
might have aged out of that.
we're too old for that now. But otherwise, and this is what I play defense is really I just pick an option that I think the opponent will do and try to counter it, right? Or the alternative is
Yeah.
I try to pick an option that I'm okay losing to, like oh I'm gonna take a throw here. So how do I beat every other option, right? What is a way for me to defend against as many things as possible if I decide to take a throw? So if I'm taking a throw, all right, maybe I just continue blocking, right? Maybe I reversal, right? Maybe I beat a couple different things that way,
Yeah,
or
that
whatever
frees up
else,
the
right?
stack more too, which you need in this game.
Because you're just
Yeah.
like all then the inputs just become what were the previous things my opponent did that I may be
Right.
able to try to defend against. Let me pick that thing to defend against, and then or lose to potentially, and then defend against everything else best I can, right? And again, that frees up mental stack because you're just making a snap decision, and then once the interaction happens, right? Maybe you XDP gets them, or maybe they block or shimmy, whatever. Then you can decide the next thing to do, right? Because it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I've gone through this interaction. I'm observing them now. I can now take that as input to the next decision to be made, right? So, as opposed to like constantly trying to watch for a react to something, that's really hard, right? Like that's beyond me, like way beyond anything I can possibly do. Because in my mind, like the mental stack is being taken up 100% by the neutral aspect, and like if I have to try to react on top of that, like to Twitch react to stuff, then I wouldn't be able to do it, right? I don't think I'd be able to confirm
Yeah.
anything. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think I need to make that adjustment,
yeah,
especially in this game.
yeah, and it's a small subtle one, but I think what you'll find is that you're noticing interactions just become more of like how do I deal with this interaction versus like trying to see through the whole thing and react to the thing the last second, right? So
Mhm.
that can help a ton. Cool, man. So I know it's like late. It's midnight for you there. So did you want to run it back or do you want to call it a day there? It's up
Yeah.
to you. Okay.
No, I mean,
Up to
it's
you.
a weekend and I'm kind of a night owl.
All right. All right. Let's do it.
All right, so I'm gonna hop off the stream and I will be right back. I'm gonna run to the bathroom.
Sure. All right. Cool. Just a second here. Yeah, late night coffee, guys. So yeah.
All right, still there?
Yeah, yeah, that's good. I sent the invite to the room there, so hopefully you can get into it.
Yeah, this is really good. Since my buddies kind of aged out and have families and stuff playing, it's hard for me to pick up new things in game without slowing down or just fishing for it all the time when I'm online.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah,
glad you're doing these.
yeah, yeah. The community response to this has been pretty positive. Been doing it for since what, December last year. So I'm old too, so I only do it when I get a chance. But I think people enjoy that stuff. So yeah, and this game I'll leave the mics hot because it's funny. But really just pay attention to like what I'm doing in neutral when if you get cornered, and try to maybe change up like what you're trying to do. Like maybe not just try
Mhm.
to react, but maybe try to induce me to whiff something or whatever. I play neutral. I play neutral in the corner unfairly. Really, the only way I can describe it.
Yep.
Oh, oh, oh! No cancel. Uh-oh, it's gonna hurt.
Oh, did not mean to EX it.
Yeah, it cost you a little bit more meter than you wanted to spend there, I think.
Ugh.
Oh, I caught the tail end of that. Ooh. Oh, that's tough. That's tough to defend that because you have to be buffering level 1. You're not sure if I'm gonna do anything
Yeah,
else. Yeah,
I spent today trying to learn a new way to do supers on neverless, and
it's
I'm
tough.
working that in, but it's faster. I just need to like get used to it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh no. Okay.
Oh wow, the recovery is much quicker than I expected.
Oh.
I'm trying to do that with the drive rush, not after.
Yeah, if it had come out a little bit sooner, it would have hit me. But I ended up kind of trying to shimmy you instead, and then you ended up reversing. But you made a decision. That's the important thing. Oh, that sucks. Oh, nice. Oh. Oh no. Nice.
Thanks. Nice.
Uh-oh. Totally routed that wrong, but whatever. Take those. Oh, the latest Tiger knee.
I gotta remember that slow.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a cancel.
It didn't come out. Should be enough, right? Oh yeah. Whew. Whew. That was kind of close. Nice. Oh.
Ah, my fireball. Nice, nice.
Oh
That was
no!
fireball. No.
Oh, I didn't build a level 3. That's so hard to defend. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, it's so hard to guess there. But I think that was the right decision though. Well, obviously it didn't work out, but it's tough to like justify like delay teching there because obviously the shimmy's gonna kill you, so you have to make a decision. But I
Yeah.
do think like potentially waiting for the shimmy is probably fine. So it worked out. So
Oh,
anyway,
sorry, that timed out.
no worries. We'll run one more and then or one more game and call it there. But so far it's
Okay.
like I feel like it's more of the neutral game that I'm kind of getting you now. Like the corner stuff you're defending decently well. So this is the hardest part I think of the game. There's no like quick fix I can give you unfortunately. Nice. Ow.
What?
Trade. Oh nice. Oh, that doesn't work?
Uh, Not from that range for the low one.
Yeah, I think you were closer, right?
Farther.
Oh, further.
Well, for the low one, the high one works better.
Oh. Nice. Oh, burnout though.
Oh, I didn't know that I'd be that far.
Left you a little bit too far for the crouching
Double
right.
tapping also hurt me.
Yeah. So, I think that you were probably a little more aware of your meter last time you played. Obviously, you burned out in that last one, but I think that overall, again, it's really hard because this is like the hardest aspect of the game. I think to get better at is the neutral game. But I think you did a slightly better job of recognizing when I was trying to walk forward and hit you, and when I was trying to induce whiffs. Right. So, if you notice me trying to induce a whiff, that means you can walk forward and hit me. But if you see me just walking forward, you can press your button to cover that. Right. And I think that's probably the two things that you were probably noticing more, right, of those aspects, because I definitely was not trying to, like, since you weren't walking forward, I don't necessarily need to try to cover that, right, because it's more likely that I would be the one aggressing because you have bigger buttons and a better fireball, so you can do that. But yeah, I mean, I think, like, again, overall, once you kind of get the mechanical issue sorted out, which again, that's gonna take some time, that is what it is. I
I
do
might feel
think
like I might never.
it's tough, man. It's hard. You gotta spend time. There's that, and then really just like, again, the being more comfortable in neutral in the corner and trying to gain space back, right? If you make a good read on the jump, which you did a couple of times, that's even better, right? Like jumping to the other corner, I think that's good too. And you likely get away with that a lot, especially in like 1500 MR. People don't really crosscut DPU or anti-air you as much, right? So trying to jump out of that probably be fine. But yeah, I think that's really like the path forward for you to try to get, more wins, if you will, is to be able to defend that corner situation. Because we saw, like, in the replay that we looked at and in our games here, is that once you had offense and you were able to kind of put me in the corner, like, I had to deal with that. And you run a decent offense that can kill anybody, right? Like, it's pretty good. Sagat's offense is pretty good here, right? You use the plus turns effectively. As long as you're frame trapping, it'll be fine, right? So, but yeah, I think you'll be good there. Just the other thing I will add to that though is just be careful about people that press when it doesn't make sense to press, right? So make sure you keep your frame traps tight. Make sure that you don't really leave gaps or go for the big stuff until you establish that you're not going to let them get away with pressing buttons in those situations, right? So it's the only other thing I would say. Otherwise, yeah, man, I think you did fine, so it's good. So
Yeah, thanks so much for the
yeah,
advice.
any last questions for you wrap up?
I think I've been throwing them out as we've been going,
Yeah,
so
that
I'm
works for
good
me.
for
So,
now.
well, man, yeah. So I'm always around on Discord. So if I'll post this video up probably sometime tomorrow. I have to convert it and all that stuff, but it'll be available for you to watch sometime tomorrow. So cool, man. Yeah. So I'm just gonna wrap up on stream here. I'll probably mute on Discord, but otherwise, have a good night, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Thanks for watching, folks. Sit down, shut up. Appreciate your time as always. Thank you for checking in. I run this through the FireEyes Discord. So FireEyes is a fighting community focused on Street Fighter 6. They run bi-weekly events through their One Fight Stand series. It's basically a 7-round round robin. It is rank separated, so if you are concerned about what rank you are, don't worry about it. Come in, sign up, get some good matches. Again, 7-round round robin, so you'll get a lot of games, which is good. They also do community showcase events through their Urge to Fight series. Excuse me. Basically, people in the community that have been doing well, doing a lot of work, getting better in the game. They get to be on stream. They get commentated by. Get to run a special format, a commentary, run stats mod, all that good stuff. So if you're interested in any of the previous events we've done for that, check out twitch.tv/FightRiseFGC. I'm also gonna promote Big League KO. So Big League KO is their league format. It's basically a 8-person pool. It's a 7-round round robin. Every game is first to 5. You play 2 sets a week for the course of 4 weeks, and then the top X number of players, it depends on the pool you're in. The top players will get promoted to a postseason bracket where you get to play for some prizes. So it's a good time. It's a good way to get longer sets with folks since everything's first to 5. Flexible scheduling means that if you're old like me and have a lot of responsibilities, unfortunately, you have to deal with that are not Street Fighter. Unfortunately, you can schedule with your opponent and be able to play those games. If you're interested in coaching like this for yourself or getting a session like this for yourself, check out the FireEyes Discord. Take a look at the level up section. There's a couple of coaches there that you can talk to, try to get coaching sessions from them. So take a look at their channels, take a look at the pinned messages there and how to sign up for these. I'm also part of the Newbie Fight Club. So Newbie Fight Club is another fighting community focused on helping newer players get into fighting games, mostly Street Fighter 6, but other fighting games as well if you're interested in that. They do lobby nights every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday is their modern night, so if you play modern or are interested in modern and want to try it out, take a look at that night to play. Again, you don't have to play modern during those nights, but it's encouraged to try it out. Wednesdays are their normal lobby nights for newbies, so you may see Reddit posts that type of thing for this. It's usually the main kind of lobby night. So if you're new to the game, interested in getting into it, it's a good time to come in, hang out, meet people, get games with folks in a more casual setting. Fridays are their open lobby night, so tends to be a little bit sweatier, right? People playing their mains, people, high level players that are in the Discord are there hanging out. So it's a good time there. They also do events on Sundays, I believe it is now. So I don't know if it's bi-weekly yet. I'm not sure on the timing. But if you're interested in that, they do a bi-weekly either double elimination or Swiss tournament, 7-round Swiss. So take a look at the Newbie Fight Club. Take a look under the events to see when those are. And I think the other thing I'll mention is that they do a modern monthly. So if you are a modern warrior looking for other modern warriors and want to play in a tournament with only modern folks, take a look at that. It's always a good time. There's a lot of high level modern players that show up for that, so it's a great tournament. I think it's the second Sunday or something like that, second Monday, something like that. So one of the lobby nights for Monday gets replaced by the tournament. It's a monthly. So again, if you're interested in any of those things, take a look at either of those Discords. Join up. I'm active on both of these, so if you have any questions for me, want to talk to me, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, this has been Sit Down and Shut Up. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you all and have a good night.